let's look at example 3 and 4. On example 3, they ask you to identify the domain and the range. Now the domain on part A is your x values that I'm underlining in pink. Okay, so for part A, my domain is my x's, which is -1, 0, 1, and 4. That would be my domain. They do typically use set brackets. When you look in the back of the book, they'll put it in a set bracket. Remember that range is your y's. So for my range, that's what's in red. It's going to be 1, 2, -1, -3. Order doesn't matter. You just need to make sure you have them all listed. Let's look at part B over here. My domain on part B would be my x's. So let's see what it covers. On your x-axis, it goes from -4 to +4. Now remember, we use brackets because it actually touches from -4 here to +4. Okay, brackets means it can equal that. For the range, the y value, we're going to look at what it touches. It goes from -6 all the way up to +6. So we would write -6 with a bracket, comma, +6 with a bracket. Now part C is a line. A line always has the same domain and range, and you can expect to see this on a test. Domain and range would be -infinity to +infinity. It eventually is going to cover all the x's and all the y's because it keeps going forever. Now remember, when we use infinity here, we use parentheses, not brackets, okay? Because you can never equal infinity. The last one over here, part D, this one is a parabola. Now it is eventually going to get wider and wider and wider, and for my domain, it's going to cover -infinity to +infinity. But my range is a different story. It's never going to turn around and go down. So the smallest y value is a -3. It touches -3, so we use a bracket, comma, it's going up, so we put +infinity there. So it's going from -3 to +infinity. Now example 4 is the same thing, except what we're dealing with, same graphs, we're dealing with the question of is it a function or not. To determine if it's a function, you hold your pencil straight up and down. You do what we call the vertical line test. If you can move that pencil across this graph and never touch a point twice, like this one, okay, that one is a function because you never touch one of the x values twice. If you look at part B, the ellipse though, if I hold my pencil up here and I do a vertical line test with it, I'm going to touch this graph in 2 different spots. So this one would be a no. This one is not a function. Part C, a line is a function because I can move that vertical line test. I can do it all the way across and I never touch that graph twice. So that one is a function. And for part D, this one is a function. If I take that vertical line and I move it, if you're holding a pencil and you move it from left to right here, you do not touch the graph twice. So that one is also a function. I do need to point out though, if your graph, let's see, look like this, that is a parabola. This would be x equals y squared, okay? X equal y squared is not a function because if I draw a vertical line there, I'm touching the graph twice. So if you were given that one, the answer would be no, it is not a function.